Dang. Well, my name Black Rasta. This is the Black Port, aka Kuku Show, number where we speak truth to power. Now, we normally would not criticize in this segment, but if you hear us criticizing, it means that we are only criticizing to build and not to destroy. One thing is very clear. We don't do politics here. What we do is called patriotism. My brother, my sister, we are rewiring the mindset of our people. If the average African mind is corrected, oh my God, if the mindset is righted, every single thing would be righted. This is the Black Port, aka Kuku Shonamo, where we speak truth to power. And remember, from the news reel, we always keep it real. Remember to share the broadcast. We are 92.73 FM and we are streaming live on Facebook. We are also streaming live on Instagram. We are on Twitter at the same time on YouTube. 3FM 92.7. Now the very first story I'm taking today is taken from the National Communicator graphic online. And it says, Anas is an investigative terrorist. As a judge saying that. Now, the presiding judge who dismissed a defamation suit filed by investigative journalist Anas Armiyao Anas against the member of parliament for Asin Central, Mr. Kennedy Ohini Ejapon, has described the former as a blackmailer who uses blackmail to extort money from his opponents and people he does not like. In a ruling today, the court presided over by Justice Eric Ban, a court of appeal judge sitting with additional responsibility as a high court judge, dismissed the case for lack of merit. Speaking about Anas's work as an investigative journalist, the judge added that what the plaintiff is doing is not investigative journalism, but investigative terrorism. From the above, I hold that the plaintiff is a blackmailer who uses blackmail to extort money from his opponents and people he does not like. What the plaintiff is doing is not investigative journalism, but investigative terrorism. The presiding judge, who awarded cost of 50,000 against Anas, said, "This is the Black Port, aka Kuku Shonamo." Now, my brother, my sister, it is no more news. It is all over the place that Anas Armiyao Anas, who everybody said was an ace investigative journalist, is nothing but an investigative terrorist, according to a judge. Now, basic journalism ethics will tell you that you have no right to call somebody a thief until a court of jurisdiction says so. You have no right to call anybody a thief, a terrorist, an extortionist until the court said so. So now that the court is saying that Anas is an investigative terrorist, that Anas is an extortionist, that Anas is evilous, and that Anas, oh my God, is nothing but a blackmailer. Now these are going to be flinging around all over the country and beyond. The name that this journalist has made for himself will be decided by how people look at this. My brother, my sister, how does Black Rasta see this? Hear me now. Now, this matter has been lingering in the courts from 2018. For 5 years, they have been slugging it out. Kennedy Japan came out boldly to call Anas a blackmailer, in fact, a murderer. He called him an extortionist, and he also called him evil. Now, it looks like the court has endorsed every single word, every single adjective that Kennedy Japan used on Anas Armiyao Anas, except the murderer one. Hear me now, brethren. Let's get deeper into this. Now, when you look at the ongoing, you will realize that 3 judges sat on this issue. The first judge sat on it for 5 solid years, left it, another person took over it, and then there was a communique, as we are told by Kennedy Japan, to have a judge of his choice sit on the issue. As Tiger IPI has made us know, and on some documents that we have chanced on, this new judge, Judge Ban, Eric Ban, was brought on, and he was endorsed by Kennedy Japan. Now this man goes on to make judgment in favor of Kennedy Japan, and even adds that 50,000 Ghana cedis should be given to Kennedy Japan. What do Ghanaians think about this? What is it about the legal profession that can make a man who has been sued to decide which judge should sit on the case and allegedly write a letter to the CJ to recommend that, oh, this is the judge I want to sit on the case? The Tiger IPI rebut this issue. The Tiger IPI complain about this new judge. If Tiger IPI did not complain, it meant that Tiger IPI also subscribed to this judge and believed that the judge will be able to deliver justice. Or was it that Tiger IPI believed that it had overwhelming evidence, and therefore, no matter what judge sat on the issue, everything was going to be okay? Today, the judgment has gone in favor of the man who recommended Eric Ban to sit on the case. Now, what I see from where I sit is that the judge's pronouncements sounded like personalized. That's what I think, personally. Now, listen, according to the suit that Anas unleashed on Kennedy Japan, over 20 of all these accusations against Kennedy Japan, over 20. In fact, including the fact that Kennedy Japan said the guy is a murderer. The judge didn't look at that. The judge never mentioned that, oh, okay, he said you are a murderer, and we do not have any evidence against that. Therefore, that is not right. And for that matter, we are going to deal with it this way or that way. But the judge goes ahead to say that this is not investigative journalism. It is investigative terrorism. Is Anas an extortionist? Does Anas go around extorting money from people? Is Anas a blackmailer? Now, Anas has made it clear that anybody who has any evidence against him should come out or hold his peace forever. Nobody has been able to come out to say, oh, Anas extorted this amount of money from me for ABCD, or Anas did this. We haven't seen that. Has anybody seen that? It looks like it's only Kennedy Japan who has been able to come out to say that, no, this guy is evil. Now, the documentary, the so-called documentary that Kennedy Japan released, Who Watches the Watchman, is it enough to say that Anas is a blackmailer? He's evil? Now, those of us in the business of journalism, what Anas is doing, is it investigative journalism or investigative terrorism? In fact, from where I sit, I am scared what will happen in this country if Anas Armiyao Anas is branded an extortionist with no evidence. We cannot see the evidence. Where is the evidence? Is it Who Watches the Watchman? Is it Who Watches the Watchman? Bits and pieces of Anas's own investigative works brought out against him. I want to understand this better, my brother, my sister. Now, those people that Anas's work has affected, my brother, my sister, they are all jubilating right now. And top on the agenda, better still top on the list, is Kwesi Nyantechi. We all saw Kwesi Nyantechi. We all saw him in the documentary number 12 claiming that he would help a foreigner control the whole of the country, Ghana. We saw him taking money and demanding money. My brother, my sister, he himself is in court. Now we all remember that this nation called Ghana had the information minister ask Anas for his full, unedited footages, and Anas provided that. We have not heard anything from the information ministry. So if Canada, Japan takes bits and pieces of the full thing that Anas has already submitted to the nation, and this is supposed to be evidence, then I wonder what kind of evidence it is. I don't know how many people understand what I'm saying. The nation ordered Anas to present the full unedited material. Anas supplied every little thing without holding back anything to the nation's information minister. From that time, we haven't heard anything untoward about Anas's investigation. Remember when this president was looking for our votes to become president, what did he say? He was going to use the Anas principle to be able to deal with corruption in this country. Now this is supposed to be a senior lawyer. If the senior lawyer in whose chambers the former CJ was trained, my brother, my sister, I'm talking about Sophia Akufu, did not know that Anas was an extortionist. After seeing all these unedited tapes, if this senior most lawyer did not see anything wrong with Anas's investigative terrorism, then my brother, my sister, I sit back and I ask myself, what is happening to our legal system? Of course, the judge has spoken. Once we have heard him, twice we have accepted it, but 3 times we have our issues with the judgment. Listen, Eduboyin, we all saw what he did. He's also in court. He was removed. Today, my brother, my sister, Anas is being called an extortionist. He's been called a liar. Anas is being called a murderer. And the judge, Eric Ban, did not say anything about the murderer label on Anas. Am I tempted to think that there are some political shenanigans working underground everywhere we go in this country? But whatever it is, to God be the glory. Listen to this. Still on the Anas issue. And I need you to open your ears and listen with rapt attention. Hear me and hear me good. This one is from my own 3news.com, the most authentic source of news online. And it says, reinstate all persons who were sacked over Anas's terrible work. And this is Canada, Japan. I read. Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Canada, Japan, is advocating the reinstatement of all persons who were sacked from their work for being captured in what he describes as terrible investigative work by Anas Anas. In the view of Mr. Ejapan, what Anas does is not journalism, rather it is blackmail. I'll leave it here. Hear me now. This is what Canada Japan is saying. Remember that we had Kwesi Nyantechi in number 12, that documentary, also talking about Canada Japan and saying that, oh, this man talks so much, he's loud-mouthed. So if I get part of your money, I will seal his mouth with a bribe. So if birds of the same feathers are flocking together, I do not believe that these birds are going to criticize each other. I leave it there. Those who have eyes, let them see. And those who have ears, let them see. Listen, I love Canada Japan for speaking his mind, and I love myself for speaking my mind too. Hear me now. To be honest with you, all these things that are going around, if we are not careful, this country is going to crash in corruption. This is a president who promises himself, tickles himself and laughs, saying that he is fighting corruption, when we all know that he's rather supervising over corruption. Look how much corruption we have in our country. He himself is bemoaning the situation. And works like those of Anas come out to show that, yeah, some people must be punished. Now thieves are going to be on the loose. Criminals are going to have a field day. Bureaucratic thieves are going to be on the loose, and Ghana would become the sacrifice. When Barack Obama came into this country, apart from Black Rasta that he mentioned first, the next person that he mentioned was Anas Armiyao Anas, and he congratulated him. BBC, CNN have both endorsed Anas's works. Does it mean that they do not know what investigative journalism is? Does it mean that CNN does not know what investigative journalism is? And it is a judge who is going to tell us, media people, what our profession is all about. I doubt what this is. I cannot go to a judge or a lawyer to tell him what his profession is. Much as I might have some knowledge of law, I am only a layman when it comes to the lawyer's knowledge of his own profession. Today, our profession has become so much trampled on that a judge can sit down and say, hey, what this person is doing is not journalism. It is called terrorism. To God be the glory. I fear what will happen in this country. I am not a lawyer, and I do not claim to be one. Can a man, my brother, my sister, sit back and decide which lawyer, which judge should sit on his case? Is it done? And I hear Ifa Date, he is saying that Anas should shut up. He shouldn't be talking about this case. Nobody manipulated it and so on. My brother, if you can defend Aisha Huang because you must eat food, and that is what your profession makes it. The law profession says that everybody must be defended. One, because it's a way of putting food on the table. My brother, my sister, if that is what the profession really says, then we have a really terrible profession. You know that there is a thief who was raped and killed, yet because your profession says that you have to go defend this person, you go and tell a bag of lies in order to free the person. I'm waiting for that lawyer who will go to the court and say, this is my client. He has been accused of thievery and rape. It's true, he raped and killed. Please give him the maximum sentence. No, they rather would go and defend the undefensible. And innocent people end up in jail every now and then. Go to our jailhouses. It's only people who have stolen plantains, people who have stolen banana and fowls for Christmas. They are those who are there. And people who have smoked in Tampe. The bigger thieves, those caught in documentaries, taking thousands of American dollars. Those who bureaucratically steal from the nation and make the nation bleed. My brother, my sister, they are those who are on the loose. To Anas Armiyao Anas, listen, my brother, do not be daunted by this. Well, I'm happy that they said they will appeal the case. Wherever it is, I want to see a bigger evidence than who watches the watchman. This is the Black Pot. All right, so what is social media actually saying about this Anas Armiyao Anas case? And I'm reading this from Ghana Web. There are some people who are talking. There's somebody here who says, is the trial insinuating per his bogus judgment that someone can call you a murderer without proof and still walk away in a defamation suit? If this is not travesty of judgment, I don't know what it is. His name is Obama. And I'm reading this from Ghana Web. And this one says, Kwekubaku Jr. through Anas sadly projected Nana Addo as doyen of rule of law and human rights advocate, and therefore must lead the nation to promote the above pillars of democracy. And money. That's what he said. And money. Can Sefa Kai call Anas and interview him today like before? Some of us can still not accept the fact that someone can start something for good intentions in the beginning, but end up with parochial and selfish interest in the end. Well, Charles Nite Cortego, I think some of us know him. He's in the presidency. some time ago talked about Anas, Admiral Anas, and there was something that came out. Kwekubaku said he's not even, but he wasn't the one who responded, so we are not even going to read it at all. My brother, my sister, hear me now. This is what social media is saying. I read that to you. I leave it here. I'm going to spend another 2 minutes today with this. And this one says, I'm reading this from Peace FM Online, and it says, sawing off. Sawing off means cutting off. Sawing off railway lines. Send soldiers to Trifu, Nyamakrom to deal with the culprits. Who is sending soldiers there? Let's read. James Kwabena Bomfre has called for the deployment of soldiers to Trifu, Nyamakrom in the central region to maintain law and order with regard to the sawing of railway lines in the community. I leave it here. You see, it looks like a lot of us do not still understand the work of the army. Soldiers are supposed to be for external aggression. We need education. Every little thing, soldiers. Soldiers are now carrying the books of lawyers to court. Soldiers are on the streets, my brother, my sister, helping police on the road to collect bribe. Soldiers are walking left, right, and center in town. Is it because of the lack of war? That is why soldiers have become redundant. Can I ask, do we know the sole purpose of the army, the soldiers, the military? Is ultimately for external aggression. Now, if there is an overwhelming internal aggression, that is when we call for backup from the military. Whilst the soldiers use rubber bullets and blank bullets and tear gas, soldiers have no time for this. They use live ammunition. They use grenades. They use bombs. My brother, my sister, the soldier has no time for a warning shot. He chooses to immobilize, de-immobilize you. My brother, my sister, today soldiers are called upon to run after thieves who are cutting railroads. What is wrong with us? They should go all the way to Nyamakrom. Soldiers should leave Gonda Barracks and go all the way to Chifu, Nyamakrom, and look for robbers. So when soldiers are on the loose at Ashima, slapping people left, right, and center, you say you do not understand why they should do that. Are we okay? Are we okay? Are we okay? Well, my name is Black Cross, and I want to say thank you.